Behringer XM8500 plus the Behringer Uphoria UM2. How do they stack up with each other? And do they make a good match for audio? What's up guys, it's tech-raccoon back with another video, and I've been using the Behringer XM8500 with the Behringer Uphoria UM2 for many years previously. Now I've switched over to the Behringer Q802 USB mixer, but I still use the Behringer Uphoria UM2 very often with the XM8500. Now this was basically my original audio setup, and I'm really pleased with the audio that this setup provides. Coming in at 100 Australian dollars, this setup is really cheap, and the audio you get from it is pretty incredible. But it might get you wondering, is the reliability any good, and should I actually get this setup? So let's start off by talking about the microphone, and then we'll move on to the audio interface. So the Behringer XM8500 is one of my favorite microphones. The audio quality it produces for the price of about 30 Australian dollars is honestly incredible. It has that warm sound with still relatively crisp high end and a nice mid sound to it as well. Now, of course, it's not as good as other microphones that cost a lot more, like the Shure SM58 or SM57, but they are a lot more expensive, coming in closer to the $100 mark, while this is only $30. And I actually have made a video of me comparing this microphone to the Shure SM7B, which costs 800 Australian dollars, so way more than this microphone. And honestly, I was really surprised with how similar the sound is between these two microphones. In the low end, they're very unnoticeable in difference. It only is in the more mid to high end sounds. That's where the Shure SM7B really showed its value, but overall the sound was relatively similar, which is crazy. So the XM8500 is a dynamic microphone, meaning that it pretty much reduces all your background noise and really focuses in on what's in front of the microphone. So in this case, it's my voice, but of course this microphone can be used for many other applications like music. Now, since this microphone is a dynamic microphone, it does mean that it's a very quiet microphone, but it's also very robust, because compared to a condenser microphone, which usually has a circuit board inside and a whole load of other stuff, also the capsule inside the condenser microphone is relatively weak as well. So in general, it causes a pretty weak package, and if you drop those microphones a few times, it can basically break the microphone. While with something like a dynamic microphone, they're very durable. And that's no different for the Behringer XM8500. This microphone I've had for about 4 years, and I've dropped it several times and beaten it up quite a bit, and it's still punching. So this microphone has definitely passed the test of time. So what about the audio interface? This is Behringer's cheapest audio interface they make, and in fact it's one of the cheapest audio interfaces on the market. And this is the first audio interface I ever got, and it's still one of my favorites. The Behringer Uphoria UM2 comes in at about 60 to 70 Australian dollars, and what you get is a single XLR audio interface, which also has an instrument port and of course a headphone jack and 2 RCA jacks out the back for speakers. You've got 3 knobs on the top for your different gain settings, so you've got one for the XLR cable, one for the instrument port, and also one for the headphones and speakers. Sadly, they are combined into one, but for this price you can't complain. Around the back, it's also got a 48 volt power switch for condenser microphones. Now, this audio interface I've had longer than the Behringer XM8500 actually, because I picked this up back when I still had the Florian BM800 microphone as my daily mic. And so this interface is about 4 years old plus, and it's still going really strong. Have no problems at all. In fact, I picked up a second one of these for my other setup that I use, and it is a really good audio interface in terms of reliability. Sure, the outside is made out of plastic and everything on it is completely plastic, all the knobs, everything, but it really delivers a good package for 60 to 70 Australian dollars. So when the Behringer XM8500 is hooked up to this interface, you'll have to have the gain set at about 90% to get a decent audio volume out of it, and that will leave you with good volume at the distance that I'm using it right now, which is relatively close to my mouth. Because it is a dynamic microphone, the gain is a lot higher than a condenser microphone has to be, but it does mean that usually the microphone itself produces way less noise. Usually what will actually end up producing the noise is the audio interface or the actual preamp inside. Now you may be wondering, well, this interface is extremely cheap. Wouldn't it produce a lot of noise? Well, surprisingly, it's not terrible. Obviously, it's going to be worse than a lot of other interfaces, but For me, I have been using this interface for ages and I've noticed no noise in any of my audio recordings with the Behringer XM8500. Maybe if you really boost the audio you can hear it, but usually if you have your levels set right, you won't have to boost your audio much anyway. So basically this microphone and interface work really well together. So in my opinion, this is the ultimate budget audio combo basically. Obviously you'll need to buy yourself like a microphone stand or boom arm and then like an XLR cable. And most people would have headphones, so you probably won't have to buy those. But yeah, those are some of the things you might need to buy, but those are cheap. Like an XLR cable's $10. You can buy a boom arm for very cheap as well. And when combined, the audio interface and microphone create a phenomenal sound for only about 90 to 100 Australian dollars, and that's about 60 to 70 US dollars, which is really, really cheap. And this will be a very reliable audio setup, which will keep you going for many years. So hopefully this video helped you out if you were considering if either one of these products were good or not. In my opinion, these are phenomenal audio products from Behringer and probably some of the best in their lineup in terms of reliability, honestly, because these have lasted me ages. So if you did enjoy the video, drop a like on the video. If you didn't, drop a dislike on the video. Remember to subscribe to the channel for more videos like this, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.